and my moment of looking super cool without my glasses ends now, because I need to, actually see. Hello darlings, it's Tess and welcome back to Vlogoween. That is a treat for the whole of October in which I give you a spooky, scary, witchy, fun, Halloween style video every single day of the month. Today's video is going to be witchy. I want to give you a complete beginner's guide to glamour magic. A process where you don't actually need to buy any witchy specific things. A glamour in fantasy is fully transformative, an illusion to hide someone's identity totally. It can be optical, but also physical and auditory. It's like this moment of Thorin and Thranduil in The Hobbit. Thranduil shows his burn scar for a moment, implied to be from a dragon, before it disappears again. That is a glamour. Practicing witches can combine glamours with their existing magic. I'd like to reach out to those who have never done any form of witchcraft before. In my mind, glamour magic is an incredibly accessible form of magic. It can even be your first official spell or working. It's a lot easier than herbs and candles and crystals because those are things you often have to buy specially. On the other hand, glamour magic can be done with basically anything and everything that you already own and use for yourself. Clothes, makeup, jewelry, accessories, skincare, your hair, or, of course, choosing not to do or use any of those, such as shaving your hair off completely. Glamour magic is a type of spellwork where the witch or practitioner can express their full self and their potential power in their outward appearance. It's a way to shift energy according to what intention you have. You are changing the way that you are perceived. Glamour for me, and for many witches, makes perfect sense, because if you look at the history, a Scots Gaelic word, gramarye, was the original basis for the word glamour. As ContraPoints, Mother pointed out in her video Opulence.
But originally the word glamour comes from the Scottish word gramarye, meaning magic or enchantment. And glamour still involves a kind of illusion or charm cast on a spectator. You might hear glamour and think of designer clothes and heavy makeup, but glamour magic can be whatever you want. It can even be your skincare, so it's invisible to the naked eye. The point is, you know it's there. You can draw sigils on your face or body with your moisturizer before you rub it in. A sigil is a magical symbol you create and it can mean anything you want. You can take your perfume or your other scent, mine is a road opener oil. I love using sigils on soap in the shower to draw on my skin because it doesn't cost a cent. Literally everyone watching this probably has access to some kind of soap and water. Another opportunity for glamour magic, if you have long hair, is to braid, curl, straighten, whatever you want, to put your intention into it. We're familiar with that in certain cultures. First Nations Americans have braiding traditions, and in fantasy, there's braiding in the wisdoms for the Wheel of Time, for example. You can look up spell contents of what you'd like to focus on. Herbs, crystals, candles, whatever things you might not be able to afford yet, and include them in your routine. Use rose water to increase your openness for love. Use body wash with natural lavender to calm your spirit. I don't use those sheet masks, but you can probably find a lot of correspondences within them.
If you can't find the right herbs or flowers in convenient products, which I admit are more reasonable for most of us, then think about making the extra effort to find the dried versions and make your own things. That puts your magical intention into it even more. Trust me, fresh, homemade rosewater is peak. Heaps of us appreciate crystals these days, so you could put the ones you want into your makeup bag if you wear it, or hair tools drawer, clothes drawer, wherever you want. And as you use those products or things, you can think of the feeling you want to exude that the crystal has been echoing while it has been among those things. For makeup and hair, you could use a spray of gem elixir, which is pure water with a certain crystal in it, to wet your skin or hair when you need water on it. Another form of glamour magic that you might have thought of is colour magic. Most of us know that specific things can be represented by specific colours in many cultures. Black is often mourning, white is often a wedding colour, and we all know the gender crap of pink and blue. Devil take that shit. I mention it as a well-known example of colour association, and now I will burn it with fire. Speaking of fire, burning candles of a certain colour while you dress also counts. There are many charts from different cultures or even from different witches of colour symbology that you can find and download. I have found a colour symbology chart that is specific to cinematic colour psychology. Obviously that makes sense for me as an aspiring filmmaker. And I want to give you some ideas that are outside of what's normally expected for colour psychology. Yellow, madness, sickness, insecurity, obsessive, idyllic, naive. Orange, warmth, sociability, friendly, happiness, exotic, youth. Red, love, passion, violence, danger, anger, power. Pink, innocence, sweetness, femininity, playful, empathy, beauty. Purple, fantasy, ethereal, eroticism, illusory, mystical, ominous. Blue, cold, isolation, cerebral, melancholy, passivity, calm. Green, nature, immaturity, corruption, ominous, darkness, danger. Like a lot of people, I have getting ready glamour magic songs that I can use to put my intention into that day's glamour. For example, if I'm fixing to be the reason the devil is nervous that day, you better believe I'm playing Highway Tune. Or get some.
You gon' get some. Go ahead, go where I can do no harm. Go ahead, go in my honey love and all.
If you don't want to use correspondences like the rosewater for love or the blue dress for peace, you can always put an enchantment or a charm on something that you want to use for a glamour. So that way it serves a purpose to you, no matter the correspondences or the associations that other people might have about it. It is personal to you and you control that. Heirlooms, lucky charms, talismans, all things to enchant. You don't necessarily need to Google how we enchant as witches. If you have a particular attachment to a piece of jewelry or another accessory, that is enough to enchant it already by your memories and your emotions, because we are all inherently magical. You can just make it stronger by identifying as a witch. Speak over the item with words like, "May these words stoke the fire of my magic jewel, or shoe, or hat, whatever it may be. Charged already with my memories and love." Choose something important to you to dedicate the spell to. You could choose a goddess, or a colour, or a stone, or a planet, anything you want. So, by Bridget, it grants me this power. As above, so below, so mote it be. Chaotic Witch Aunt did a great video on glamour magic. The link is in the description of this video.
Being intentional with the way that you cleanse your body, especially in the shower, being intentional in what kind of products you are using, not because everyone is going to benefit from using natural stuff or everyone is going to benefit from like spending a bunch of money on witchy stuff, but because your glamour magic is at its core about putting a perception or changing the way people perceive you.
So theirs is really good, and I'll also link another one, Magical Glamours 101 by the Witch of Wonderlust.
Each person will perceive that differently, that energy that you're putting out. So it will be a basis line of energy. The first thing that comes to mind is beauty, is lust, is attraction, right? And those are very popular ways of using glamour magic. That is probably one of the top ways that glamour magic is used. However, glamours can be used in so many other different ways. So physical glamours, this is more mundane type of things. We are spirits with physical bodies, right? So we're always continuously doing magic. We just don't know it, or maybe are fully aware of it. Clearly, things like fashion or makeup are a huge player in glamour magic. The things that you wear, the colors that you wear, and you'll hear this, and we'll get to that in a second, color psychology.
When I watched that video as I was writing to prepare this one, when she mentioned color psychology, I was like, yes, it let me know I was doing the right thing. There's a whole book that you can read called Glamour Witch, Conjuring Style and Grace to Get What You Want, by Sophie St. Thomas, and very accessible articles on Teen Vogue, even. That magazine's redemption arc went from fast fashion and boy obsession to social justice and witchcraft. You might ask what my personal glamour magic practice is, and I do have a lot of options within it. I have my lucky 18th birthday ring, heirlooms that honour the women who went before me, many things that I put in my hair or on my head for formal occasions, such as garlands, crowns, headbands, bows, and either of my 2 witch hats. My extensive pin collection, which, yes, many I have enchanted, charmed, and charged. And my very expressive clothes, as most would say. Easy to spot on the street, according to my friends. My signature personalised jackets are a good example, and my 21st birthday present 3D flower dress is hard to miss. But my signature glamour that you know immediately when you look at me is 11 years strong. Before I knew that witch was the right term for me, and before I knew what glamour magic even was, and this is the glamour of my purple hair. I dye it myself to save money, but I'd feel weird not doing that anyway, because I'm applying the glamour with my own hands and taking the several hours of time out of the day to recommit myself to this ongoing practice every couple of months for all these years. It might be a bunch of extremely toxic, unnatural chemicals with fumes that necessitate an open window, but they're pretty much spell ingredients to me. Believe me, if I could dye it with crushed amethyst and violet oil, I would. We all have to make sacrifices to the earth for what's important to us, and this is one of mine. To play against this, I try to recycle everything I can, including cards, papers, collage materials, and other art things. I exclusively use reusable cups. I have even glittered and decorated a couple. I almost never buy fast fashion in place of vintage or thrift or small businesses. I wear things until they fall apart. I avoid excessive packaging in the supermarket, and I boycott companies such as Amazon that have really bad environmental impacts. Honestly, there's no downside to never buying anything from Amazon, except that I can't watch Wheel of Time. It's a big sacrifice. Through this glamour, I transform myself into someone that feels, not always looks, but feels beautiful and centered and just correct. This is how I'm meant to look. The inside of me just has to match the outside, whether it's eyeshadow or hair. I can't imagine having a natural hair color the way I used to. It'd be like wearing a wig or walking around in someone else's skin. My signature color, or what else could you call it, my power shade, is permanently attached to me. I have a glamour spell recitation that I wrote recently, and it doesn't require anything witchy to perform. I like to recite it in my head or out loud as I dye my hair, brush it, put makeup on, or do something else that prepares me for that day's glamour. With this action, the poetry of my intentions radiate through me in however I choose. May the world perceive the truth of me as I desire it to live. As above, so below, so mote it be. Feel free to use that spell while you dress, put on your makeup, or otherwise organize that day's glamour. Focus on your purpose and imagine it permeating your veins and glowing outwards. So overall, my glamours are often not glamorous at all by most people's ideas. I have no makeup most days, and my hair gets a simple braid if it's lucky. Meanwhile, sometimes my outfits are just chaos instead of curated chaos. But I can't imagine being any other way. Embrace your power now with Glamour Magic. Make your insides match your outsides. And for that matter, your outsides and what you do with them can affect the way you feel inside. Thank you for watching, my dears. Remember to subscribe for more magic and more Halloween. And remember, I love you, keep going.